still there. So I just switched out a water pump that was perfectly fine. It's my brand new alternator that's making all the noise. I assumed it was my old water pump. But for taking the alternator out, it makes the job easier to just take these two bolts off and take this charcoal canister for the evaporative emission system. Just take that out. That will open up the space to get to the alternator. There's the charcoal canister. Just two size 12 bolts on there. Comes right out. Easy peasy. The tubes just slide off. Adjustment bolt on the top of the part of the bracket. Loosen that. Okay, got that one loose. Now I'm going to take that bolt almost all the way out, but not quite. Now, from the bottom, looking up, this one, loosen that one up. Okay, I have that one almost all the way out, and then the tricky one is the one on the opposite side. Let me see if I can reach it from the top. With the top and the bottom bolt loose, should be able, there we go, slide that alternator up like that, and then pull that belt off. I'll just let it hang down there. If you want to take the belt all the way out, you just have to work it around the fan. Slide that back down so I can see the bolt. Okay, I got that one. I was able to reach my hand down in between here, behind that lower hose, and get my wrench on that lower bolt, and loosened it up, turned it out. There we go, got that one out. Both of them size 12 wrench. The ratcheting wrench helps a lot. Now there's two electrical connections on the back. One is that big green plug right there, and if you squeeze the tabs in, if you can get your finger in there, it should pop off. It's like the tab on one side's broken. Squeeze the tabs and wiggle. There we go. I don't know if you can see, but that popped off. The other one, size 10 nut, needs to come off of there. Right down in there. Oh, and before I mess with taking that nut off, I need to disconnect one of the battery terminals here. Okay, I got that nut off. Once you get it loose a little bit, you should be able to turn it off with your finger. It's really hard to reach a wrench in there. And I took the wire off and then put the nut back on. Next thing, I'm going to take this bolt all the way out. I can't hold the camera and do that though. And take that out. Alright, I got it all loose, but I can't get it out, so I'm going to try taking this mounting bracket off, a bolt here, and then a bolt over here. This one's kind of pushed up. I gotta kind of push the dipstick out of the way a little bit. And okay, got that bolt out. This is the bracket. Put this one in here so I don't forget where it goes. Yeah, let's see if I can wiggle it out of there. I think I can, but I have to use two hands. I should fit through that space now. Or with the front up, I was able to wiggle it through that space in this orientation and slide it out. There we go. It looks fine. There's nothing loose at all. But if I spin it, you hear that noise. I don't know, maybe the bearings are just dry. I'm not sure. All I can think of to do is take it apart. What I figured out with this alternator, it probably works just fine. It's pretty new. The bearing that fits back here, I've got one taken apart. It looks like this. I was going to put this one, replace it with this one, but I can't get this one off of the shaft. And in this one, it's stuck in the back of the casing. I can't get it out of there. But that bearing's making noise. Seems to be working fine, just making noise. I have my brand new $130 alternator here. That includes shipping. So let's put this in the car, and I'll save that for later. Alright, I'm going to wiggle this back down just like I took the other one out. Get it down in the space. If you turn it just the right way, try it this way. I'm holding the camera with one hand and holding the alternator with the other one. Okay, almost. There we go. Oh, okay. It's in there now. Alright, now I'll put my bracket back on. Before I put the bracket back in my way, I'm going to go ahead and hook up this wire. Easier to reach if I do it right now. Just got a little nut on there. I think it's a size 10. I'm going to have to hold the alternator up a little closer and then screw that on. And then the plug-in right here, I'll plug that in also. And then I'll put the bracket on. Okay, I got the plug in and that wire connected down there in the back. Now I'm going to put this bracket on. That goes right here like that. I'll just thread that screw in. Okay, I have that finger tight. I went and found a little shorter bolt for this side. That might help me get around that dipstick there. Screw that one in. I'll tighten that one up, and then I'll tighten this one nice and snug. Now I need to manipulate this alternator around and get the bottom two bolt holes to slide into the bottom bracket, and then the top one will be on the inside of this upper bracket. Alright, I have the bottom holes lined up close. I have to go underneath and stick the bolts in from the bottom. There's no way I can reach them on top here. I'm having a terrible time getting those bottom two bolts to line up, so I'm going to try putting the top one on loosely first. That worked good. So first put this top one on loosely so you can move it around, and then that helps center up the bottom two. So I have those started. I just going to tighten those down. Top bracket bolt is loose on the alternator. The bottom two are screwed all the way in, but they're loose still, so I can move it easy. Now I'm going to put the belt around the inner pulley on the crankshaft, around the water pump pulley, and onto the alternator pulley. Then what I'm going to do, hold this down so the belt's snug, not super tight, but snug, and then tighten this top bolt, and then tighten the bottom two bolts. Okay, the alternator's in. That belt's nice and snug. I'm going to go ahead and put my charcoal canister back on. Bolts back into those two holes right there. Tighten those guys up nice and snug. Okay, then the big hose on the big tube should just slide right on there, and the little hose on the little tube. Alright, let's see if I solved that whiny noise problem by changing the alternator. Holy smokes, my car's completely dead. Do you know what I forgot? To hook the battery back up, right? Alright, the noise is gone. So it was definitely the alternator. Another project done.